Okay, on to the next Skip the Line reaction, man, and this one is Hassak Ansau. This is a Skip the Line reaction from Dinara. Thank you very much. They're completely brand new to the sphere. We haven't had a Skip the Line reaction from Dinara. This is the first one, so I really appreciate you supporting the channel. Thank you. You do have a message over here. Your message is, Full, I know no matter what genre is you love sincerity in music. Yes, I do. You are someone who can appreciate traditional handmade instruments and their values. There is a Kazakh ethno-folk group, Hassak. Please can you do a reaction to their mesmerizing piece of music, Ansau, Longing. Beautiful, calming and mesmerizing sounds transport you into another magical world if you listen to it with no interactions. Wow, okay. Well, got no interactions over here, it's just me. That happened to me, just wanted to share with someone special. Hope you will like it. Thank you, I really appreciate that, man. Let's get straight into it, man. Let's listen to what we've got over here. Never ever reacted or heard of Hassak and Ansau, so let's see what we've got. Let's go. This is traditional folk stuff, this. What is this instrument over here? Someone has told me before what that two chord guitar type thing is, and that violin. I just can't remember. You guys can also remind me down below. But what is this particular instrument over here? It's almost harpish, but not so much like it. I'd love to know what this instrument is. You can see it's super traditional. Wow, that's an interesting sound. It's almost like a didgeridoo from Australia, but not really, right? It's got a very different sound. The didgeridoo is like... That's what a didgeridoo sounds like, right? This actually almost sounds... I don't know, what, flutish? No, it can't be. No, it's not. It's definitely not flutish. But, what is it? Even the way he's playing it. That's crazy. These outfits are beautiful, specifically what the women are wearing are absolutely gorgeous, man. I love different cultures, man. I love different cultures' fashions, different cultures' styles, right? It's beautiful, so interesting. Like, you want to go and see how other people live. You want to experience that. It'd be so dramatically and terribly boring if everybody had the Western ideal of stuff, right? Just these concrete jungles, and everything is about capital, and everything's about money, and you know, that kind of thing, and it's only Louis Vuittons and all that kind of crap, you know what I mean? It's like, this is, you want to see this kind of beauty. These kind of things always need to be preserved, man. You should always preserve your culture. You should always preserve your sense of pride for your nationality, like the Indonesians do, and like the Kazakhstan do, and like a whole bunch of different people do. Right? You want to keep that. It's your own traditions, right? It's beautiful, man. Do you know what I found about the West at the moment? It's so sad to see, though. We don't appreciate beauty anymore as a culture. We don't appreciate beauty. We feel that beauty needs to be torn down, right? Anything beautiful needs to be torn down, and something completely vacuous and vapid needs to be replaced, or not even, you don't even replace it. You just leave that hole, you know. It's best to live in the ashes, right? We used to build cathedrals back in the day. We don't build cathedrals anymore. We build these big square blocks out of glass and concrete, right? Because it's almost like we don't want people to have an attachment to their culture anymore. We don't want people to have an attachment to their to their region, to their country, to their city anymore. We want to do away with all of that, right? Because we're too afraid and to actually just deal with the fact that our history is our history and there's nothing you can change about that. Yes, you can try and make it better for the future, but how dare you want to destroy and tear down something that you never built, right? You never built that. And that kind of thing, that kind of artistry and that kind of cultural aspect is something so beautiful and important because it makes people love what they are. Makes people love where they are. Right? It's something that makes it feel like you belong. This is why a lot of the Soviet architecture back in the day was just dull and dreary and it was terrible. There was nothing beautiful about it because it sent a message. None of this belongs to you. Absolutely none of this belongs to you. It belongs to one man. It belongs to an emperor, right? It belongs to someone who has control all over you. We don't want you to love where you are, right? It's everything is designed and directed towards the order of the communist state, all right? And we're going there for some odd reason. We don't build anything beautiful, and anything that's beautiful is deemed terrible and needs to be torn down, and it's nothing to learn from. It's all just to destroy, and we hate beauty. When last did you hear like a radical leftist speak of beauty? Right? When last you'll always hear what they hate. Always. We hate this, we hate that. They've got so much hate in their heart. They've got so much contempt in their heart, right? All of the time, but they never look at like what are the beautiful things you like? What is beautiful? Religion, we hate religion. We hate the Western architecture. We hate the West. We hate our country. We hate our this. We hate the this. It's all about just it's consistent hatred. It's like anything that's beautiful needs to be toppled and destroyed, right? And we don't want to replace it with anything. We want to replace it with secularism, which means that you connect to nothing. You're just this person out in the abyss with no restraint, and you go and you chase all of your temptations and your cheap happinesses, right? And anything that is truly meaningful, that needs to destroy. If you find hope from the Bible, we need to eliminate that from schools. If you find hope from churches, we need to eliminate that from society, right? It needs to just be our secular religion of hating everything, just this dark, sitting under like a tree, like a bunch of mushrooms, just sharing in the darkness, and the spores go out and try to create more lush mushrooms like them. Do you know what I mean? Culture is beautiful regardless of the culture, every society, every empire has got its ups and downs, it's got its wrongs and rights, and they've done some terrible things, right? 150 years ago, everybody was doing terrible things. Not just one society. Every society was doing terrible things. Everyone was involved in the slave trade, unfortunately. Everybody was dividing and conquering. Everybody was engaging in conquest. That's just how society was. And we progressed to a point where we actually started to appreciate the beautiful things and condemn the negative things. We got to that point. But now we're at a point that the beautiful things need to be torn down. We're getting to our Soviet moment in the West, where anything beautiful that you deem beautiful or that society deems beautiful needs to be toppled, and we need to replace, in its place, we need to replace it with windmills and solar panels and square buildings, and no more cathedrals, because cathedrals are evil, and nothing of spirituality, and nothing, absolutely nothing. Everything needs to be vacuous and just dreary and dark, right? And it shows in the architecture, right? It shows in the architecture. We don't build anything beautiful anymore, right? Anything we build not for the fact that it's like money isn't the object over here. Beauty is the object over here, because you want balance. You want something that depicts nature and the balance and the beauty of nature. We don't want that. We're doing away with nature, and we're bringing more of these concrete jungles into our lives. And then eventually we'll come to a point where it's like you won't be able to leave these concrete jungles because there'll be a 15-minute cities. Whereas if you leave these concrete jungles, you'll be penalized for that, right? We don't appreciate beauty anymore. Countries on the outside of the West still appreciate the beauties of their culture, still appreciate the beauties of their people, still appreciate the beauty of their nationalism. In the West, we don't appreciate beauty anymore. It's all just heinous and terrible, and there's nothing beautiful. You know what I mean? Just absolutely nothing beautiful. It must be terrible to live in a world of such little gratitude, though you live in the most privileged, society on earth. The West is the most privileged society on earth, and they hate everything. They got zero gratitude for anything, no grace for nothing. They just hate it. Anyway. think that's gorgeous, Absolutely beautiful, man. I can get lost in these kind of things from all the different types of cultures from around the world, man. Because it's storytelling. It tells you of a people, it tells you of a culture, it tells you of an artistry. And that's all we live for, man. That's us as human beings, that basically is who we are. We are the sum total of our expression through our art. That is the sum total of who human beings are. That's why they say culture is downstream of politics and politics is upstream of culture, right? That's why the politicians want to control the culture, because if you control the culture, you control what is the most valuable in society. Because that is what a society is. It's their beliefs, it's their ideals, it's their rituals. That is what a culture is, right? And if politicians can control that, you've controlled society, because you control their art form. And they can either make it beautiful and push society further, or they can make it dreary and destroy anything beautiful about it, as we are currently doing in the West. It's the most important thing to preserve, is your culture, your traditions, and your arts. That is the most important thing. We're nothing without it. Absolutely nothing without it. We can go into a globalist world where everybody is the same, everyone dresses the same, everyone follows by the same systems, everyone follows by the same cultures and everything. We can do that, but it's a dark and an isolated, meaningless world. I'm all for just everyone should have their own countries and express themselves in their own ways and do what they need to do, and their people need to fight for their cultures, for their artistry, for their people, for their freedoms. And we should stop sticking our nose in everybody else's business and let people live the way they want to live. And if that's the way they want to live is in complete turmoil, that's them to deal with in their own borders. But we don't. We go in for the control. And we destroy what would have otherwise been beautiful, because the majority of it would have otherwise been beautiful. Because the resolve of people will always shine through. The resolve of people will always succeed. But then you have superpowers sticking their nose in there and taking people who are elected democratically, taking them out of power and putting worse leaders in purely because they play to the interests of that particular superpower. And we've done that so many times, and the superpowers do it all of the times. This is what you preserve. This is what you need to preserve. This is what you need to be tolerant of, is other people's cultures, other people's ways of doing things, even if it's not the way you do it. Even if it's not the way you agree with it. Have your culture. Have the way you want to do things. Leave other people alone. Even if you think it's right or wrong, leave them alone. They don't share your doctrines, and they don't have to share your doctrines. Anyway, I love you all, man. Please stay safe, please stay healthy. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.